The stars looked cold and distant through the windows of the human ship Terra's Hope. Commander Jake Morrison stood on the bridge watching the empty space around them. His crew had been exploring this part of the galaxy for 3 months now. They were looking for new planets and new friends among the stars. Dr. Lisa Carter was in her lab, studying rock samples from the last planet they visited. She loved learning about alien life forms. Chief Engineer Ben Rodriguez was in the engine room making sure their ship ran smoothly. The crew of 45 humans worked together like a family. Jake was drinking his morning coffee when the ship's computer made a sound. "Commander, we are getting a strange signal," said Lieutenant Amy Davis from her station. "It's not like anything I've heard before." "Put it on the speakers," Jake said. He set down his coffee cup and listened. The sound that filled the bridge was beautiful and sad at the same time. It was like music made of crystal bells, but there was pain in it. The sound rose and fell like someone crying for help. "It's a distress call," Amy said, her face worried. "But the language is unknown. The computer is trying to translate it." Lisa ran onto the bridge, her eyes bright with excitement. "Did you hear that sound? It's incredible. It's like nothing in our databases." Ben came up from the engine room, wiping his hands on a cloth. "That sound is making our crystal navigation system act strange. Whatever is making it has some kind of effect on crystal technology." The computer finally finished working on the translation. A calm voice spoke in English. "Help us. We are dying. Our world is sick. The others have left us to die alone. Please, someone help us." Jake felt his heart sink. Someone was in trouble and they needed help. "Amy, can you find where this signal is coming from?" "Yes, sir. It's coming from a star system about 2 days away. The system is called Veltar in our star maps." Lisa checked her computer. "Commander, that system is under quarantine by the Galactic Council. No ships are allowed to go there." Jake knew about the Galactic Council. It was a group of alien races that controlled most of this part of the galaxy. Humans had just joined the council 5 years ago. The council made rules that all member races had to follow. "Why is it under quarantine?" Jake asked. Lisa read from her screen. "The report says the Kethani people who live there have a disease that cannot be cured. The council says it's too dangerous to help them. They put up a barrier around the whole system." The crying sound from the speakers continued. Jake could hear the pain and fear in it. These Kethani people were begging for help, but everyone had turned away from them. "Sir, we have orders to avoid quarantine zones," Amy said quietly. Jake looked around at his crew. He saw Lisa's sad face and Ben's angry expression. They all felt the same way he did. Someone was dying and they were the only ones close enough to help. "Amy, send a message to Earth Command. Tell them we found people who need help." Amy worked at her station. After a few minutes, she looked up with a frown. "Sir, Earth Command says we must not break the quarantine. They say the Galactic Council will be very angry if we do." The sound from the speakers got weaker. Jake imagined people dying while everyone argued about rules and politics. "Lisa, what do you know about the Kethani?" he asked. Lisa pulled up information on the main screen. Pictures showed beautiful crystal beings that looked like living jewels. They had bodies made of clear, colored crystal that caught and reflected light in amazing ways. "They are a peaceful people," Lisa said. "They talk to each other using sound waves like the signal we heard. They live on a planet with huge crystal cities. They never fight with anyone. They just want to study science and make beautiful music." Ben looked at the pictures. "Their whole technology is based on crystals. If they have some kind of crystal disease, that would explain why our navigation system is acting up." Jake made his choice. "Ben, set course for the Veltar system. Maximum speed." "Sir, that's against orders," Amy said. "I know," Jake replied. "But sometimes doing the right thing means breaking the rules. These people are dying and we might be able to help them." Lisa smiled. "I can study this disease. Maybe human science can find something the council missed." Ben was already working at his station. "Course set, Commander. We'll reach Veltar in 36 hours. Jake sat in his captain's chair and listened to the sad crystal music still coming from the speakers. He thought about what might happen when the Galactic Council found out what they were doing. Humans were new to the Council. Earth needed the trade agreements and protection that came with membership. But Jake also thought about his daughter back on Earth. He wanted her to grow up in a galaxy where people helped each other when they were in trouble. He wanted her to be proud of what humans stood for. "Amy, record a message for Earth Command," Jake said. "Tell them we are going to help the Cathani. Tell them that humans don't abandon people who need help, even if it costs us everything." As the Terra's Hope changed course toward the quarantine zone, Jake wondered what they would find at Veltar. The Galactic Council had some of the smartest scientists in the galaxy. If they said the Cathani couldn't be saved, what chance did one human ship have? But Jake remembered something his grandfather used to say: "When everyone else gives up, that's when humans do their best work." The ship flew through space toward a system full of dying crystal people. Behind them, the cold stars watched and waited. Ahead of them lay danger, mystery, and maybe hope. The sound from Veltar grew stronger as they got closer. Jake could hear more voices now, thousands of them, all singing the same sad song. But underneath the sadness, Jake thought he heard something else. He heard the sound of people who had not given up yet. That gave him hope. If the Cathani were still fighting, then maybe there was still time to help them. The Terra's Hope came out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the Veltar system. What Jake Morrison and his crew saw made them all go quiet with shock. The Cathani homeworld looked like a dying jewel floating in space. Where the planet should have been bright with crystal cities, dark patches spread like cancer across its surface. Even from far away, Jake could see that something terrible was happening down there. "My God," whispered Dr. Lisa Carter. She stared at her sensors, not believing what they showed. "Commander, I'm reading massive crystal decay across the entire planet. Whole cities are just falling apart." Ben Rodriguez checked his engineering readings. "The planet's crystal matrix is failing. It's like someone is turning their whole world to dust." Lieutenant Amy Davis tried to contact the planet. The answer came quickly, but it was weak and full of static. The beautiful crystal music they had heard before was now broken and painful to listen to. Through the ship's translation system, a voice spoke in careful English. "Human ship, you should not be here. The death song spreads to all crystal things. You will be infected if you come closer." Jake leaned forward in his chair. "This is Commander Morrison of the Earth ship Terra's Hope. We came to help you. Are you the Cathani? I am called Resonance of Ancient Wisdom. I speak for what remains of our people. You cannot help us, human friend. The Council of the Galaxy tried and failed. Now they have forbidden all ships to come here." Lisa was already putting on her protective suit. "Commander, request permission to go down to the planet. I need to study this disease if we're going to help them." "It's too dangerous," Jake said. "Sir, look at the readings," Lisa replied. "This disease only affects crystal-based life and technology. Humans are carbon-based. We might be immune." Ben nodded. "Our ship's crystals are acting strange, but they're not dying like theirs are. Maybe we can get close enough to help." Jake made his decision. "Resonance of Ancient Wisdom. We want to send a small team to your planet. We think we might be able to help." There was a long pause. Then the alien voice spoke again, and Jake could hear hope mixed with fear. "You would risk your lives for strangers? The other races said we were already dead, they would not even try." "Humans don't give up on people," Jake said simply. 2 hours later, a small shuttle landed in what had once been the great crystal city of Harmony Heights. Lisa, Ben, and 2 other crew members stepped out wearing full protective suits. Around them, beautiful crystal spires lay in ruins, their pieces scattered like broken glass. The Cathani who met them was heartbreaking to see. Resonance of Ancient Wisdom had once been 7 feet tall and beautiful, his crystal body shining with inner light. Now he was faded and cracked, parts of his body already turning to dust, but his voice was still strong. "Welcome to our dying world, friends from Earth. Come, I will show you what the death song has done to us." They walked through empty streets where crystal dust crunched under their feet. Lisa took readings with every step, her instruments working hard to understand what they were seeing. "This isn't a natural disease," she said through her suit radio. "Someone made this. The quantum patterns are too organized to be random." Resonance of ancient wisdom led them to an underground chamber where thousands of Cathani had gathered. They sat in circles, their bodies glowing weakly as they sang together. The sound was beautiful but sad, like a funeral song. "We use our harmonic singing to slow the death song," the elder explained. "But we grow weaker each day. Soon there will be no more songs, no more Cathani." A younger Cathani approached them. Her crystal body was clearer and brighter than the elders, but Lisa could see cracks starting to form. "I am Harmony of New Dawn. I am our leading scientist. I have been studying the death song since it began." Lisa knelt down to speak with her. "Can you tell me how it started?" Harmony of New Dawn's light flickered with anger. "It came from the dead worlds of the Vorthak Syndicate. They were an evil race that loved war and death. They tried to make weapons from dark matter before their civilization fell." Ben looked up from his equipment. "Dark matter weapons? That's illegal under Galactic Council law." "Yes," said Resonance of Ancient Wisdom sadly. "But the Council knows the truth. They found Vorthak research stations with these weapons. They were afraid that if they helped us, other races would learn about their own dark matter experiments." Lisa felt sick. "You mean the Galactic Council left you to die to protect their own secrets?" "The Zephyrian Empire and the Nexus Collective both have dark matter research programs," Harmony of New Dawn explained. "If they cure us, they must admit the weapons exist. Then other races will demand they stop their research." For the next 2 days, Lisa and Harmony of New Dawn worked together in the underground laboratories. The Cathani scientists showed Lisa how the death song worked. It was a quantum virus that attacked the frequency patterns that kept crystal consciousness alive. "It's like a song that makes our life song stop working," Harmony of New Dawn explained. "Our bodies need harmonic resonance to stay solid. The virus makes us forget how to sing ourselves into existence." Lisa studied the data until her eyes hurt. "But there has to be a cure. If it's a frequency weapon, then the right frequency should be able to stop it." "We have tried every frequency we know," the young Cathani said. "Nothing works." Ben had been studying the virus's effect on crystal technology. "Dr. Carter, what if the cure needs both Cathani harmonics and human technology? Maybe that's why no one else could solve it." Lisa looked at the quantum patterns on her screen. Slowly, an idea began to form. "Harmony of New Dawn, what if we could amplify your natural frequencies with human quantum resonators? Not just repeat your songs, but make them stronger?" The alien scientist's crystal body began to glow brighter. "That might work, but we would need very specific crystals to build such a device. Quantum crystals that can handle both our harmonics and your technology." Ben checked his database. "Those crystals exist, but they're rare. Most of them are in Zephyrian space, and they're not going to sell them to us." Back on the Terra's Hope, Jake received a message from Earth Command. The Galactic Council had discovered their mission and was demanding they leave immediately. Admiral Velthanis of the Zephyrian Empire was sending a fleet to make sure they obeyed. Jake looked at the message and deleted it. His crew was close to finding a cure, and he wasn't going to abandon the Cathani now. "Amy, send a message to Earth. Tell them what we've learned about the Galactic Council's dark matter research. Tell them the Council is letting an entire race die to keep their secrets." As the human team worked with their new Cathani friends, ships began gathering at the edge of the system. The Galactic Council was coming to stop them, but Jake Morrison had made his choice. Sometimes doing the right thing meant standing against the whole galaxy. 3 massive Zephyrian warships appeared at the edge of the Veltar system, like dark storm clouds. Admiral Velthanis commanded the fleet from his flagship, a vessel so large it could carry 1,000 fighters. His message to Jake Morrison was cold and threatening. "Human Commander, you have violated Galactic Council law. Withdraw from this system immediately or face the consequences." Jake stood on the bridge of the Terra's Hope, looking at the enemy ships on his screen. His small exploration vessel had no weapons strong enough to fight even one of those warships. But he thought about the dying Cathani below and knew he couldn't run away. "Admiral Velthanis, we have found people who need help. We won't abandon them just because you're afraid of the truth getting out. The alien admiral's face appeared on the main screen. Velthanis looked like a tall, proud eagle with golden feathers and sharp blue eyes. His voice was full of anger. The truth? The truth is that the Cathani are doomed. We tried to help them and failed. Now they are a danger to the entire galaxy. Your interference puts everyone at risk. Dr. Lisa Carter stepped forward. That's a lie, Admiral. We know about the Vorthak weapons. We know the Council is hiding the fact that dark matter research caused this plague. Velthanis's eyes grew cold. Dr. Carter, you are speaking of classified military secrets. Such talk is treason against the Galactic Council. Ben Rodriguez was monitoring communications from the engine room. Commander, I'm picking up emergency signals from other systems. Crystal technology failures are being reported across Zephyrian space. The plague is spreading. Jake felt a chill run down his spine. Admiral, your own people are getting sick. This plague isn't staying on Veltar. It's moving through space, affecting any technology that uses crystals. Impossible, Velthanis said, but Jake could see worry in the alien's eyes. Lieutenant Amy Davis looked up from her station. Sir, I'm getting reports from the Crystalline Confederacy. Their navigation systems are failing. The Nexus Collective is reporting similar problems. Lisa grabbed the communication device. Admiral, we're close to finding a cure. Give us more time and we can save everyone, including your people. But Velthanis had already made up his mind. The Galactic Council has voted. Humanity is expelled. From all galactic institutions. Your trade agreements are cancelled. Your colonies will be blockaded. You have 24 hours to withdraw. The screen went dark. Jake stood in silence, knowing that his decision had just cost humanity everything they had worked for in the galaxy. On Earth, President Helen Brooks sat in her office, reading reports that made her heart heavy. The Galactic Council had followed through on their threats. Human trading ships were being turned away from alien ports. Human colonies were surrounded by Council fleets unable to receive supplies. The economic damage was enormous. Millions of humans would lose their jobs. Advanced alien technology that Earth depended on was no longer available. Some of her advisors were demanding that she order the Terra's Hope to return immediately. But then Amy Carter, Lisa's sister, walked into her office. Amy was a news reporter who had been following the story since it began. Madam President, the people need to know what's really happening out there, Amy said. The Galactic Council isn't just abandoning the Cathani. They're covering up their own crimes. Helen looked at the young woman. Amy, if we keep supporting this mission, it could destroy everything humanity has built in space. And if we don't, Amy replied, what does that say about who we are as a species? My sister is out there trying to save lives while the Council plays politics with people's existence. That evening, Amy Carter appeared on news programs across Earth. She told the story of the Cathani and the Council's cover-up. She showed pictures of the dying crystal people and played recordings of their desperate songs. The question isn't whether we can afford to help, Amy said to the cameras. The question is whether we can afford not to. If we abandon the Cathani today, who will help us when we need it tomorrow? The response was immediate. Protests erupted in major cities, demanding that humanity continue the rescue mission. Military volunteers flooded recruitment centers, wanting to join the fleet. Civilian ships loaded with medical supplies began heading toward Veltar. But the Galactic Council wasn't finished. They sent ships to block Earth's space lanes, stopping human vessels from leaving the solar system. Council members began demanding that Earth surrender Jake Morrison and his crew for trial. Back on Veltar, Ben Rodriguez worked desperately in his makeshift laboratory. He had built a prototype harmonic amplifier that could cure the Cathani, but it needed quantum crystals that only existed in Zephyrian space. The device will work, he told Jake over the radio, but without those crystals it's useless. We need at least 50 pounds of pure quantum crystal matrix. Harmony of New Dawn was getting weaker every day. Her crystal body had more cracks now, and her light was dim. But she kept working with Lisa, searching for alternatives. There might be another way, she said weakly. The Vorthak had research stations scattered across dead systems. They might have quantum crystals we could use. Lisa looked at the star charts. Ben, there's an abandoned Vorthak station 3 systems away. It's outside Council space, in the dead zone. Jake made another impossible decision. Ben, take a team and go get those crystals. I'll stay here and hold off the Zephyrians as long as I can. As Ben's shuttle left for the dangerous mission, more ships appeared in the Veltar system. But these weren't Council vessels. They were human ships. Military vessels, cargo haulers, and civilian transports, all flying toward the quarantine zone. Admiral Velthanis was furious. Human ships, you are all in violation of Galactic Council law. Turn back immediately, or we will open fire. But the human fleet kept coming. On Earth, President Brooks had made her own choice. In a speech broadcast across human space, she said words that would echo through history. Today, we choose compassion over convenience. We choose courage over comfort. We choose to stand with those who have no one else to stand with them. That is what makes us human. The battle for Veltar was about to begin, and humanity was flying straight into it with their eyes wide open. In the underground chambers, the Cathani sang their survival songs and watched the sky, where the lights of warships gathered like angry stars. They had given up hope long ago, but now something new stirred in their crystal hearts. For the first time in their long history, someone was fighting for them. Admiral Kate Sullivan stood on the bridge of the human flagship Defiance, watching the Zephyrian fleet through the main screen. Her ships were spread out across space near Veltar, 37 human vessels against over 100 alien warships. The odds were impossible, but Kate had never backed down from a fight in her life. All ships, this is Admiral Sullivan. She spoke into her communication device. Remember why we're here. We're not here to win a war. We're here to buy time for our people to save lives, make every shot count. Ben Rodriguez was deep in the dangerous Vorthak ruins with his team, racing against time to find the quantum crystals they needed. The abandoned research station was a nightmare of twisted metal and dark energy. The Vorthak had been gone for centuries, but their evil experiment still filled the place with danger. Found them, shouted engineer Tony Martinez, Ben's partner. He held up a container filled with glowing purple crystals. These are perfect quality quantum matrices. There's enough here to power the cure device. But as they loaded the crystals into their shuttle, alarms started going off. Ben, we've got company, said their pilot, Captain Steve Powell. 3 Nexus collective ships just dropped out of hyperspace. They're blocking our exit. The Nexus. Collective were the Council's police force. Cold, logical beings who followed orders without question. They had been sent to stop the humans from getting the crystals they needed. Steve, can you get us past them? Ben asked. I'll try, but those ships are fast. Hold on tight. On Veltar, Dr. Lisa Carter worked with Harmony of New Dawn to prepare the cure frequency. The young Cathani scientist was barely alive now, her crystal body held together by will alone. But her mind was still sharp. The harmonic pattern must be exact, Harmony of New Dawn whispered. One wrong note and the cure becomes another weapon. Elder resonance of ancient wisdom gathered the remaining Cathani in the great underground chamber. Only 15,000 of his people were left alive, and all of them were dying. But they sang together, their voices creating the foundation frequency that the cure would need. Above them, space erupted in fire and light as the battle of Veltar began. Admiral Velthanis attacked first, sending his fighters against the human fleet. His ships were bigger and more powerful, but the humans fought with desperate creativity. Captain Rachel Moore of the destroyer Courage used her ship's gravity well to pull 2 Zephyrian fighters into each other. The transport ship Hope's Dream used its cargo bay to launch surprise missile attacks. Kate Sullivan commanded the battle from the center of her formation. All civilian ships get to the planet's surface. Military vessels form a defensive screen. The human ships fought like cornered wolves, using every trick they knew, but the Zephyrian fleet was too big. One by one, human ships began to fall. Thus, medical ship Healing Hand exploded in a ball of fire. The cargo vessel New Dawn crashed into a Zephyrian cruiser, taking both ships down. Captain Dan Roberts of the fighter Lightning made a suicide run on the enemy flagship. His last words broadcast to the fleet. "Tell my kids their dad died for something that mattered." But then something unexpected happened. The Zephyrian ships began to have problems. Their crystal navigation systems were failing as the quantum plague spread to their fleet. Ships that had been flying in perfect formation suddenly lurched out of control. Admiral Velthanis felt a strange tingling in his cybernetic implants. The Zephyrian military used crystal technology in their body enhancements, and now that technology was turning against them. His artificial eye began to crack and pain shot through his nervous system. "All ships, withdraw to safe distance," he ordered, but it was too late. The plague was already in their systems. In the Vorthak ruins, Ben's shuttle raced through enemy fire. Steve Powell flew like a man possessed, dodging energy beams and missile explosions. One of the Nexus collective ships clipped their wing, sending them spinning, but Steve managed to regain control. "Hyperspace jump in 10 seconds, Steve yelled. "Everyone hold on." They made the jump just as a missile exploded where they had been, but the damage to their ship was severe. They might not make it back to Veltar in time. On the planet's surface, Lisa worked frantically to set up the cure device. Human engineers and Cathani scientists worked side by side, connecting crystal amplifiers to quantum resonators. The device looked like a strange musical instrument made of metal and living crystal. "The harmonic cure is ready," Lisa announced. "But we need those quantum crystals from Ben's team to power it up." Jake Morrison looked at the battle raging in the sky above them. More human ships were falling every minute. "How long can we hold?" "Out?" "Not much longer, sir," reported Lieutenant Amy Davis from the temporary command post they had set up in the crystal caves. That's when Jake heard something that made his heart soar. Through the chaos of battle, a new voice came over the communication channels. "This is Admiral Chen of the Crystalline Confederacy. We are here to help our human allies." A fleet of beautiful crystal ships appeared at the edge of the system. The Crystalline Confederacy had been rivals of the Zephyrian Empire for centuries. When they saw the Empire's ships failing, due to the quantum plague, they realized the humans were right. This disease threatened everyone. The crystal ships joined the battle, their weapons carving through the Zephyrian formation. Now the odds were much closer to even. Admiral Velthanis watched his perfect fleet falling apart. His own ship was barely functional, its crystal systems dying one by one. In desperation, he sent a private message to Kate Sullivan. "Human Admiral, my cybernetic implants are failing. The plague is killing me. If your people have a cure, I will order my fleet to stand down." Kate looked at the alien who had been trying to kill her just minutes before. She could have let him die and claimed victory. Instead, she did what humans do. "Admiral, we'll save you if we can. But first, you need to stop shooting at us." Ben's damaged shuttle finally limped into Veltar orbit, trailing smoke and sparks. Steve Powell crash-landed near the cure device with barely enough power left to operate the landing thrusters. "The crystals!" Ben shouted as he stumbled out of the wreckage. "Did we make it in time?" Lisa grabbed the quantum matrices and began installing them in the cure device. The crystals glowed brighter as they connected to the harmonic amplifiers. In the underground chamber, Harmony of New Dawn raised her voice in the cure frequency. Her fellow Cathani joined her, their combined song growing stronger and clearer. The sound rose through the crystal caves and spread across the planet's surface. The cure device activated with a sound like thunder made of music. Harmonic waves spread out from Veltar in all directions, carrying the healing frequency to every crystal in the system. Jake watched in amazement as the Cathani cities began to glow. Crystal spires that had crumbled to dust reformed themselves. The planet's surface shimmered as the quantum plague was destroyed by its own antidote. And in the underground chamber, Harmony of New Dawn opened her eyes. Her crystal body was whole again, shining with inner light. Around her, 15,000 Cathani rose to their feet, their death song transformed into a song of life and joy. The galaxy would never be the same. The cure spread through space like ripples in a pond. Every ship in the Veltar system felt the harmonic waves wash over them, healing their crystal systems and stopping the quantum plague in its tracks. Admiral Velthanis felt the pain leave. his cybernetic implants as the cure frequency repaired the damage. His artificial eyes stopped cracking and his enhanced nervous system came back online. For the first time in days, he could think clearly. He looked at his fleet, scattered and damaged from the battle and the plague. Then he looked at the human ships still fighting to protect the planet below, even though they were outnumbered and outgunned. All Zephyrian ships, cease fire immediately, he ordered. Stand down weapons and prepare to receive medical assistance. Admiral Kate Sullivan couldn't believe what she was hearing. Admiral Velthanis, are you surrendering? No, Admiral Sullivan. I am admitting that I was wrong. The proud Zephyrian's voice was humble now. Your people have saved not just the Cathani, but my entire fleet. We owe you a debt we can never repay. On the planet's surface, Dr. Lisa Carter watched the Cathani celebration with tears in her eyes. The crystal people were singing again, their voices creating music so beautiful it made the air itself shimmer with light. Harmony of New Dawn approached her with graceful steps, her crystal body now perfect and glowing. Dr. Carter, my people, owe you everything. You came when no one else would. You stood against the galaxy for strangers you had never met. That's what friends do, Lisa said simply. Elder resonance of ancient wisdom walked among his people, touching each one to make sure they were real and alive. The ancient Cathani had thought his race was doomed, but these humans had proven him wrong. But the cure was spreading beyond Veltar. Ships throughout the galaxy began reporting that their crystal systems were working better than ever. The harmonic frequency had not just stopped the plague, it had improved crystal technology across the galaxy. The Nexus Collective, who had been chasing Ben Rodriguez, suddenly found their own ships healing from damage they didn't even know they had. Their cold, logical leaders began asking questions about why they had been ordered to stop the humans. The Crystalline Confederacy openly broke with the Galactic Council. Admiral Chen sent a message to all ships in the area. The Confederacy formally recognizes the Outer Rim alliance between humanity and the Cathani. We will provide military protection for this new partnership. On the Council homeworld, emergency meetings were being held as member races demanded answers. The plague had spread to over 50 systems before the cure stopped it. Billions of beings had been affected, and they all wanted to know why the Council had refused to help find a cure. President Helen Brooks received secret messages from a dozen different alien races. The peaceful gentlefolk wanted to trade with humanity. The Merchant Traders Guild offered exclusive contracts. Even some Zephyrian colonies were asking for human assistance with their quantum technology. But the biggest shock came when the Nexus Collective contacted Earth directly. Their supreme logic computer had analyzed all the data and reached a conclusion that surprised everyone. The human approach to problem solving is 37.6% more efficient than standard council methods, the computer announced. Logic dictates that we should form an alliance with Earth rather than oppose them. Commander Jake Morrison stood in the rebuilt crystal city of Harmony Heights, watching human and Cathani children play together. The Cathani young ones looked like living rainbows as they danced, while human kids laughed and tried to copy their crystal friends' harmonic songs. Ben Rodriguez was setting up the first joint human Cathani research station. Jake, the Cathani, have agreed to share their crystal technology with us. In return, we'll help them develop quantum defenses against future biological weapons. Lieutenant Amy Davis approached with a communication pad. Commander, we're getting requests for help from all over the galaxy. The Spiral Arm Collective wants us to investigate a mysterious energy field. The Outer Worlds are asking for human doctors to help with a different disease. Jake smiled. Looks like we're going to be busy. Admiral Kate Sullivan was working with Admiral Velthanis to establish new protocols for galactic emergencies. The Zephyrian had become one of humanity's strongest supporters after seeing what the cure had accomplished. Admiral Sullivan, I want to propose something to the Galactic Council, Velthanis said. A new emergency response system based on the human model. When someone calls for help, we respond first and ask questions later. The old Galactic Council was falling apart. 3 major member races had already left to join the growing Outer Rim Alliance. The Zephyrian Empire was split, with many colonies choosing to work with humans instead of the central government. Dr. Lisa Carter established the Veltar Institute for Biological Research, where scientists from dozens of races worked together to prevent future biological weapons. Harmony of New Dawn became the first alien to receive an honorary degree from Earth University. "We have learned something important," Harmony of New Dawn said in her acceptance speech. "Science without compassion is just another weapon, but science with compassion can save the universe." The quantum crystals that Ben had recovered from the Vorthak ruins led to amazing discoveries. Human and Cathani scientists working together developed new technologies that the galaxy had never seen before. Ships that could travel faster than ever, medical devices that could cure diseases instantly, weapons that could disable enemy ships without killing anyone. But the most important discovery was simpler than any technology. The galaxy learned that sometimes the newest members of the community have the best ideas, that sometimes the smallest ships carry the biggest hearts, that sometimes doing the right thing is more important than following the rules. President Brooks stood before the new Galactic Assembly, a democratic organization that had replaced the old council. Representatives from over 100 worlds listened as she spoke. "We measure our worth not by the worlds we can conquer, but by the lives we choose to save. We believe that every being in the galaxy deserves help when they need it, regardless of their race or their politics or their past mistakes." The Cathani provided harmonic translation for her words, so every delegate could understand not just what she said, but the emotion behind it. When she finished speaking, the chamber filled with the sounds of approval from dozens of different species. Years later, human children would learn the story of the Veltar crisis in their history classes. They would learn about Commander Morrison, who broke the rules to save strangers, about Dr. Carter, who chose science over politics, about Admiral Sullivan, who fought impossible odds, about Ben Rodriguez, who flew into danger to get the crystals they needed. But most importantly, they would learn about the day humanity showed the galaxy what it truly meant to be human. On Veltar, in the crystal gardens where human and Cathani families lived together, a monument stood with words in both English and harmonic crystal script: "To all who choose compassion over convenience, courage over comfort, and hope over fear. The galaxy is brighter because you chose to shine." And in the deep space between the stars, new exploration ships flew with mixed crews of humans, Cathani, and their alien allies. They carried the message to distant worlds: no one fights alone anymore. No one dies forgotten. In this galaxy, when someone calls for help, someone always answers. That was the human way. And now, it was becoming the galaxy's way too.